Today I listened to a podcast with Josh Waitskin and Tim Ferriss, and Waitskin was talking about an internal locus of causality versus an external. And so it made me think about the recent video that I did about whether or not youth basketball should be competitive, whether we should keep score, etc. And really clarified that point for me, that our goal in developing competitiveness should be to develop internal competitiveness, as opposed to using external sources of competitiveness that are derived from a parent or a coach. So we want to encourage the players to always play their best, always to compete from possession to possession, but we want that to come from inside, as opposed to a coach overemphasizing the score or punishing players for mistakes because it might lead to a loss, making players run, parents who immediately pick teams based on one-loss record, pick coaches based on one-loss record, get upset when teams lose, things of that nature. So again, it also kind of comes back to the environments that I was speaking of in terms of games, whether we have a learning environment or a performance environment. So if we can create that learning environment and then work to develop the internal form of control for competitiveness, so that the children or the players are really deciding for themselves how competitive they want to be, how to go about being competitive, what competitive means to them, and how to go out on every possession and compete. Then I think we're building something positive, and then the score can become just a reflection of that, and so we can use a score or a one-loss kind of as a report card. How are we doing? How are we developing as the season goes along, as opposed to using the score as a determination of whether or not I'm a good player or my team is a good team. So again, we want to try to create that internal form of competitiveness and try to decrease or eliminate the external forms of competitiveness. Now, keeping score obviously is external, and so that could cause a conflict. But I think that, again, if we can use that more as a report card as opposed to a determination or a final say on whether or not a team is good or not, then I think we can start to move towards a more internal causality for competitiveness, and de-emphasize the coach's role or the parent's role, and making a really over-competitive environment based solely on winning.